The Rise of Skywalker has opened with $176 million worldwide, a stunning figure in most situations. But people are saying since it's under, what The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi made, it's a little bit disappointing for a modern day Star Wars movie. However, it's important to note that this is the weekend before Christmas. So next week, a lot of people are going to be off work from that Wednesday. Wednesday is Christmas Day, leading up through Sunday. And so there are a lot of people over the Christmas break who are probably going to go see this movie a lot more times because it's the Christmas box office movie of the moment. The de facto blockbuster. The same way Aquaman was in the 2018 Christmas season. So, it's depending on how you look at it, this is either really successful, because, any other movie, $176 million opening weekend worldwide is great, but, as the ending to not only the sequel trilogy, but the entire Skywalker saga, what they're saying, there are people saying this should have been like an Avengers Endgame type of conclusion, with a huge box office, bigger than this, even bigger than this, and with all this excitement leading into it. And so far for The Rise of Skywalker, there are a lot of people who like this movie, but there are a lot of other people who are kind of like either meh or they hated this movie, right? Which is something you didn't see with Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame was, I think, universally beloved by almost all Marvel fans. The Rise of Skywalker, not so. The same with its lead-in movie, The Last Jedi. And also, since the movie The Rise of Skywalker is tanking in China, it did really poorly in China, even for a Star Wars movie. Star Wars movies don't typically do well in China. So, I don't know. We'll see, if this movie sinks like a stone in its second and third weekends, or if it holds. There's a good chance it might still reach $1 billion, which would make this movie look really good. And I think there's still a good chance it will. But if it doesn't reach $1 billion, it's going to look really bad. Not only for, it being a Christmas blockbuster, but for it being a Star Wars Christmas blockbuster. And the conclusion to the entire Skywalker saga, which is what they've made it. Now, if this movie does underperform, a lot of people will probably blame J.J. Abrams as a director of it. But I think he was painted into a corner by Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi. And if Rian Johnson had made this movie, this into the trilogy instead of Abrams, I think it still would have met the same fate. Because his take, I feel that, I know a lot of people, there are people who love The Last Jedi and love Rian Johnson's decisions. That was not a very good Star Wars movie, and he made that movie without it tying in really well with the movie that came before it, The Force Awakens. So there wasn't very good story continuity. It's like he just wanted to do his own thing, and he didn't care that he was making a Star Wars movie that was supposed to fit with other movies, right? That caused a disturbance in the Force, in the fandom. That's what really started to split. People starting to hate Disney Star Wars, and then people starting to love, that's what put us into two camps. People who liked Disney Star Wars, people who didn't. So, I think that the blame game, if there is a blame game, that needs to be shared, not just all tossed onto Abrams' shoulders. But we'll see. We'll see if it makes $1 billion. If it hits that, I guess that'll be okay. But I would think that because of the type of movie this is, there was an expectation that it would do even better. Maybe approaching, $2 billion, right? Which is what The Force Awakens made, and this is something that is the conclusion to historically the biggest, sci-fi blockbuster franchise of all time. Star Wars is the OG, huge cinematic universe. Before Marvel, before DC, Fast and the Furious. Although, Fast and the Furious isn't really it's sort of sci-fi. But you know what I mean. Like, Star Wars is the original, and it's still very viable, but I don't know. It could be that Star Wars movies these days just aren't exciting people the way that they used to. But, $176 million is great. Still one of the biggest opening weekends, December of all time. This movie could still make $1 billion. So, let's just see how it goes. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.